Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Super Ranger. Since Supernatural was last time, this time, it's all about Power Rangers. And I actually came up with this idea as I was doing some video editing for a video I will be posting on Halloween. Around Halloween. For my Ranger Lover. If you guys don't know about that one, go check it out. And I will have one in the description below. That actually reminds me, this Halloween, which is in just about 11 days, thanks to my handy dandy calendar watch. Not only that, not only is it in 11 days, but in 11 days I will be doing a special Halloween edition of Super Ranger, combining both Supernatural and Power Rangers together. I know it sounds a little corny, but it's a good idea. And it's not going to be Power Rangers and Supernatural, more their actors and what movies they had been in involving Halloween. Like Jason Font, and I think it was called The Totem. And I don't believe I've mentioned this before, but my favorite personal Halloween movie that has two titles, which I'm pretty sure is very uncommon: Philip Antu and The Hazing. Anyway, that's in 11 days. Today, I want to talk about season endings. And the season endings I want to specifically talk about, other than the ones I actually remember, are, I want to break down how I find them and how meaningful I find them. So, kicking things off with the original Mighty Morphin, let's just go with the actual end season, the end of the Mighty Morphin franchise, which was the destruction of their base and the discovery of the Zeo crystals. I think it was only one crystal. But yeah. That was a good setup for Zeo, and it just seemed pretty interesting. Then there's Zeo, which had to slip into Turbo. So I guess this season, I haven't seen the season finale, but I guess the slip to Turbo was pretty interesting. No, I haven't seen the actual season finale of Zeo, but I have seen the opening of Turbo. Okay, I've seen the movie opening of Turbo, and honestly, I think that's a lot cooler than, I get it. They had to quickly transition from Zeo stuff to Turbos because they didn't really have any. I have no idea, but it was just the quick transition kind of made people a little iffy on the season. But I actually find it pretty interesting because switching from Rocky to a little kid seemed just pretty interesting. But that's another video. But yeah, the Zeo kind of seemed a little quick and fast, even though it was pretty interesting. Now with Turbo, you already have a whole new set of Rangers, and from my understanding from the Legacy of Power video, thanks to Dr. O's little Legacy of Power video, from what I understand, they lost the powers because of their villain in Turbo. So yeah, that was pretty sad, but I love the transition they had, basically sneaking on board that ship, leaving Justin behind. Actually, that was a pretty obvious setup to they're gonna get a new Ranger in the next season. It's just dependent on what color he's gonna be. So that was pretty interesting. Now, going to in space and the end of the Zordon era. Again, I have not seen anything in the Zordon era, so I don't really remember. But I do know that In Space's finale really like revealed, like, they were, I think, the very first team. I don't remember what happened with the first team, but as far as I know, they did not reveal themselves because they could not. I don't understand the beginning of the Mighty Morphin movie, but again, another episode, another time. But the In Space kind of really like tied up those knots in loose ends, because they finally revealed themselves to Angel Grove. They finally revealed that they were Power Rangers. So like bringing an end to the secret for their team, at least, they brought it into the secret of being Power Rangers. So that was pretty interesting. And the fact that the whole freaking season, from my knowledge, they had to find Zordon and save him. And they basically had to pull the old switch awoo and kill him. So that was pretty, like, why, and I mean, I get it was for the greater good, but come on, kill Zordon? Why? Alright, now to Lost Galaxy. Again, I only know the season finale thanks to Legacy of Power, so I'm going off of what I understand from that. So, from what I understand, Leo's the last one standing, and he's using his battleizer. With the battleizer, he was able to trap a transfigured, I know I'm gonna mispronounce the name, but Troika, something. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. But, yeah, her crazy green form, he trapped her in the claw of his battleizer, risking his own life, because that definitely looked dangerous, just to save as the Lost Galaxy. And from my understanding as well, that actually brought back Kendricks. So, yay. Switching gears to Lightspeed Rescue, as far as I know, the ending was plain and bittersweet. The Rangers, after Carter kind of nearly sacrificed himself to get thrown into the, I believe they called it the Shadow World, but honestly it's definitely hell, literal actual hell. After Carter nearly got thrown there, but the Ranger saved him. That was pretty epic, and I like how like the monsters just turned on the master. And it's just it was pretty interesting. However, with what happened in hell all done and gone, there's no more need for the Lightspeed Rescue crew. So again, bittersweet. So they all gave up the Morphers, and lo and behold, a fire truck just happens to go by. And even Captain Mentor goes, "Hey, you're gonna need these." I mean, there was like, honestly, in my opinion, there was no way they gave up the Morphers like that. There was just no way. They just had to have gotten it back, just for like that one last like for the road kind of save. Now on to Time Force. Oh, my favorite three-parter in the world. Oh, my favorite three-parter finale ever. Starting, but this is for the actual full in finale. So This is going to be the third parter. It just seemed pretty interesting because they had all these loose ends from past episodes basically come into play. And what I loved most especially about this finale, they actually did say, Jen finally got off her chest that she loved Wes. And it just hurts me something, like, just tears me apart that she still left. I mean, I know she has a life in the future, but, I mean, did you have to leave? It just hurt my heart so much. But I like to think that they stayed in the past after reinforcements from the future. I like to think they stayed in the past, and I will forever think they stayed in the past because I have this little headcanon for SPD. But yeah, now for my not exactly my favorite season finale, which is Wild Force. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was very interesting and very fun, and I like how they tied up loose ends, but I mean, come on, the loose ends kind of solved themselves way too soon, and left like way too many open doors. It's like, no, I did not personally like this episode at all. But let's just stick with the good points of this season finale, because that's what this is about. Good points. They defeated Master Orc, which, with the most epic, I mean, hugely epic. That was just so awesome, kind of ultimate attack. It was, that was just epic. Completely cool. Awesome. Okay, that goes without saying. And how all the Wildwoods finally got into the animarium, that was amazing and sweet and beautiful. Things I didn't quite like about this episode, everything else? I mean, I get it. Their job was to simply defeat Master Orc. He's dead. He's gone. He's destroyed. So is the Orc Heart. He can't come back. But did you have to give up the jackets and the love? Though I am still a Shed Merrick. Though, again, I get it. They had to do him. But what annoys me the most is that they had to do that time jump with Alyssa, where she's telling all of these kids it. I mean, I love it, but I hate it. You know, it's kind of like a double-edged sword to me. I mean, it's a beautiful finale, but it kind of killed itself with that little time jump of Alyssa telling these kids the story. I know I'm gonna get a little off Supernatural and Power Rangers here, but it reminds me of this episode of Charmed, where Phoebe sees this weird reality where the avatars and the Charmed ones had created utopia, and it's like there's no way it can be that simple. There's no possible way. So it reminded me so much of that. I hated it because I just did not like that kind of ending. And the Zanaku being alive thing, I mean, yeah, they actually did speculate that he'd be without his horn, but he certainly was with his horn, so that's annoying. And to make matters worse, to make things more annoying, with Wild Force, they had like several different points that they could have done, because Cole was actually supposed to be a vet, so actually I don't know what he could have, like, how they could have put it, him being a vet, being a jungle boy and not actually I'm not actually going to college or all that stuff, and suddenly being a vet. So I can understand that little, like, how do we do it sort of thing. So I can understand that he just went to the cave, found this dog, and I can understand that part. As I don't think I've said before, but because I think I actually edited it out, but Kendall, in the original Wild Force finale, Kendall, Danny's girlfriend, was supposed to come with him and Max. I don't know if Max was originally in the game plan, but him and Max on that cruise, on the little journey. So again, another thing they had to cut out, and I can understand it. They kind of like let the thing drop, like going into Supernatural here, like how they dropped, thanks to the writer's strike, they had to drop Sammy being a little more merciless when he was killing people and things in season 3. I can understand that. I can honestly understand that because of the writer's strike, but still. But yeah, switching back to Power Rangers, we get this. It was still pretty interesting, and I like how Taylor still gets to see her Wild Zord, because that's like something they still do every. I think they said 2 on the dot or something. So I just like how they still have that scheduled, even though she's not like allowed to like be around the Wild Zord. She still gets to like enjoy being with her Wild Zord, because that's all she, I think, really wanted. It just annoys me that she had to like play off that, oh no, the Animarian, all that stuff, that never happened. When yes, it happened. Everyone obviously saw the Animarium go up into the air. I mean, come on, Taylor, enough with the games. But yeah, the most annoying thing to me was the what the heck was Zanaku doing alive and with his horn? I mean, I can get it, Merrick being a little, alright, you can come with me, just, try to be good thing, but what was Zanaku doing alive in the first place? That's a plot hole I want solved. Now onto Ninja Storm. Now, unlike its predecessor, Wild Force, Ninja Storm to me actually had all of its loose ends finally fit. I get Wild Force was the end of it, not only an era but of a franchise, because they were originally Saban, then went to Disney, and now Ninja Storm is all Disney. But for me, with Ninja Storm, it's like they had like 2 separate stories for their finale parts. First is like all about the games, and then, oh looky here, we have this final battle to worry about, and then we have this final battle to worry about, and that final battle actually cascades and stays cascaded. I mean, it goes to different points, like, okay, we can do this to stop that, and then while they are doing that, and I can try to do this while they're doing that. So it really felt nice, and I really like how it's at the beginning of the second episode, because all of the stuff happened at the end of the first. So I really like how like they're trying to tie up the loose ends, but they're doing it so well because there's only like few loose ends they have to tie up. So I really like, and I especially like how they had let the team graduate, even though 3 of them weren't even official wind ninjas, and they never exactly completed their studies. But I guess, technically speaking, because they were Power Rangers and protecting the world, that kind of cuts them some slack. And I also like how, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I really like how they brought Sensei Watanabe back with the explanation that the energy blast, just like it had in the very first episode, I like how the energy blast had been the reason, the cause for Sensei Watanabe being turned into a guinea pig and turned back human. So that was fun. The only annoying takeaway I have from that is Hunter being given the spot as a Thunder Ninja teacher and Blake traveling the world, because I mean, I know technically speaking Blake did win that contest back in Down and Dirty, but still. And technically speaking that Blake had been the one that had been going, and I get it, Factory Blue had wanted Blake, but still. I mean, that's basically like the only annoying part, the Bradley brothers being the only annoying part of the finale. But I mean, I can get it. They're not originally Wind Ninja students, so they don't really have a place at the Wind Ninja Academy. But switching gears to Down of Thunder, again, it's another bittersweet, like, Lightspeed Rescue. But this time, it's the Rangers fully, like, but this time, just like with Mighty Morphin, it's the Rangers, well, the Jordan era, the Rangers fully lose the powers after the final battle. And I like how, again, they led up to this final confrontation instead of forcing it. Because forcing it, like with Wild Force, they just like led up to it. It's like every episode was like another this. It's more like a filler chapter, a filler episode, and then with like these added details to it. Like, I know I'm going to be giving major spoilers for Supernatural, but this is the only weapons I got. Like with Sam and Dean going on about the business, Sam and Dean go 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 about the business. Mick dies, but Sam and Dean keep going about their business. Like, the major plot points, they don't really point to until they're actually necessary. But again, switching back to Power Rangers now, I really like how Down Thunder had ended with this basically a dance that they had pointed to, just like when Ninja Storm had pointed to the games in Ninja Storm. I like how a dance was basically center stage for Down Thunder's 2-episode finale. And I especially like how they had pointed to basically the final thing being, oh, it's not, it might seem like the end, but it's not the end. Which is very fun because next season finale, switching gears already to SPD, basically it's Jack leaves SPD, even though he was like the underdog in the beginning. Now it seems fun. Now he was just so into it. It's just so like strange for him to be gone. And don't get me wrong, I love Sky finally fulfilling his father's want of, you know, his dream of being like his father, being a Red Ranger. But to me, I think the Blue Ranger spot will always be with Sky, just like the green would always be with Bridge and the yellow will always be with Z, and obviously the pink always being with Sid. I cannot see, honestly, Sky being the Red Ranger, but I love how Jack basically came full circle with his story. With him starting out as a thief, like a natural born Robin Hood, and now he's doing more, doing better. But, I mean, it's still, you know, iffy with that, so I'm just, I honestly don't. I wish Jack hadn't left. But now on to Mystic Force. I love how they had ended with basically them saying exactly what Udana had said at the very first. Again, coming full circle. I like how they keep coming full circle with the events now. And that event that I'm speaking of is Udana going, all you have to do to use magic is believe in magic. And what do all the townsfolk do to help the Rangers? Believe in magic. That's all they ever had to do. And I like how they all had to just come together to do it. I like how they had to combine, like, you don't go into the woods now, like, oh, go freely into the woods, there's nothing to be afraid of. I like how they finally, like, came full circle with that realization. Just like with what Vida did with her hair being just like, I think it was just like one streak at the beginning of the episode and then full on hot pink at the end, even though she had said,
I hate pink.
And now it's all
cool. That's it.
So I really like that. I don't really have much beef with this episode. I mean, like I said, everything just came full circle. Like, loose ends were tied up. I mean, there's not really much I can say. And, in fact, the actual finale, the last scene, Claire, who couldn't do a spell to save her life at the beginning of this season, finally got the teleportation spell right and zapped out of there. I love it. It was just so amazing for her in the end. Now on to Operation Overdrive. I don't understand everyone's beef with this season. I mean, it was pretty good. And, I mean, especially considering, the loose ends were again tied up, and loose ends from recent episodes too. They were all tied up and, like, come to terms with their past and all that stuff. So that was pretty interesting. And, I love how they finally made the Mac a real boy. I just really love that. I really like that Pinocchio thing. And even though he had actually come to terms with him being an android, that was pretty fun. And again, there's no real beef. It's just like with Lightspeed Rescue. They had to give up the Morphers because, I mean, the job was done. So, I mean, I'm perfectly okay with that. Now on to Jungle Fury. Again, full circle. And this season was all about learning from each other. Learning. And I like how they finally, it's like, all of that learning finally paid off in this final showdown. And as with the very first episode, only the three chosen can lock Dashi away forever. That's what Master Mao meant when he said 3 chosen had to do it. And I like how they had to always incorporate the number 3. Like, the stool that RJ knocks down, 3. Claw Cannon takes 3 spirits, and it's 3 colors. And the Jungle Pride Megazord and the Jungle Master Megazord, 3 Zords each. Along with the Wolf Pride Megazord, which is, again, 3. I really like how they played around with the number 3, saying, basically signifying that, hey, 3 is an important number. Keep an eye out for the number 3. 3 turns out, only the 3 chosen can destroy Dashi forever. That was pretty fun. And I like how they ended with Jared and Camille going back to the beginning, going back to the beginner's class. And I like how the beef between Jared and Casey was all gone, all done. And that's because Casey would not harm another human. And Casey just knew Jared was still human inside. He might have been a jerk, but Casey knew Jared was still good. Now moving on to RPM. Now this is the one season that drives me crazy, because this is the one, because, you know, loose ends. Again, their job is done. Their operation is over. So it just really annoys me. And like the loose ends were like getting finished to being, or just like getting tied up. Like they were, most of the loose ends were tied up in the first part, but the second part, they like still had to defeat Venjax in his body, and they had to rescue, well, I mean, I don't think they actually rescued, but they still had to get back Jim and Gemma. So that was pretty like intense and interesting. And not to mention, like, they still had to figure out how are we going to save all of these people, or like how are we going to save all these people, or can we just defeat, like, that's how I would usually think how they do it. They, like, how you defeat something, you defeat it at the source, and the source would be Venjax. So defeat Venjax to defeat the virus. I mean, I know they couldn't do that with Tanaya or Dylan, because Dylan was pretty much 40% already, so that was impossible to do. And Tanaya just like completely mind wiped, so she has to get that virus out. Virus? Or is it vaccine? But either. That was pretty interesting. And I like how, like, with no more chance for anything bad to happen, Flowers and just Fauna, or Flora, I think is what it is. Flora just finally just starts to bloom everywhere out in the wasteland, in what was then the wasteland. Like immediate change kind of thing, like with the Yellowstone problem wolf. You might want to check out Super Columbus, who are huge inspiration to me. You might want to check out their video on how wolves infect the environment. Hey, wolves. But back to my topic at hand, because I am very close to the end here. Then we got Samurai and Super Samurai. I'm just gonna go ahead with Super Samurai because that is actually the end. Again, we have this, since this is, even though this is a new era and we're back to Sabon, they kept with the tradition of no more rangers needed because Xanted is destroyed. And I like how, like, they started with the Ultras. They defeated Master Xanted. He comes back, as all Nilax do, in Mega Mode, and they had to go straight to, I think it was the Gigazord, or it was either the Giga or the Ultra, or whatever huge gigantic was the finishing Zord. It was the final combo Zord. But they had to like fight Master Xanted till the end. And the last Zord still remaining, was the original Megazord. And I like how, I think this is actually the very first time, because I know in Ninja Storm they actually had to build a set, but this did not, but somewhat sets, but since the Megazord in Samurai and Super Samurai was like all one set, I like how they just like, destroyed, like they made the whole thing destroyed, and then they had the Rangers morph and do it. It seems so epic. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. And I love Again, I know I mentioned this in the couple. I don't know if I mentioned this because again, I probably did a little bit of too much editing, but I like Mike's reaction at the end when he goes, "And I'm gonna learn how to cook," and Mike goes, like, even though it's not so sequenced, like Mia knows she doesn't know how to cook now, but it's like Mike just has to look to the heavens and go, "Thank you." And Mia's like, yeah, I know. It was so fun. And I like how Antonio was the one that goes, "Need anything? Yeah, my number." Because the phones, like many other seasons, but definitely this season, relied so much on the phone. And like, it wasn't like a transfigured phone or a phone given to them. It was actually their phone. They get to keep it. Phone. So I really like that. I like how they finally, like, they tied up the loose ends they had been, like the strings they had been pulling at, they finally tied them up. And now let's get to Super Mega Force. I love how they ended with, they defeated the Armada, but lo and behold, they still got a bunch of X-Borg. It's like, can't you like give us like a little more than just X-Borgs and all those grunts? I mean, that can't be it. That's all I have to do is beat those X-Borgs. That's what they call all of the past Rangers together. It's like, are you kidding me? But I mean, it was still interesting, and we still got to see a few familiar faces. Though I would have loved to see Philip Andrew. Any wild voices, though I can understand a little bit of that. But Rangers there, like maybe just Corey or Jack Guzman, but I guess I can understand because they are still technically speaking American actors, and it's all the way in New Zealand, and from what I understand, that is pretty expensive. So I can understand that. But I mean, it was pretty decent. And then we get to Dino's Supercharge. Again, it's already been stated that they are in another universe. So the dinos being extinct, that was pretty interesting and pretty fun to watch. And like, again, all loose ends finally come to like a hold, because it's like, Snide's defeated. We got one big bad down. Now on to the huge big bad that has been nagging at us for 2 years. Well, who knows how many years, but 2 main years, which would be Sledge. So I really like that. And I really like how they had to go straight to the past. And because of Sledge's bounty stuff never hitting Earth, no dinosaurs were extinct. And I like how when they returned, it's like, instead of it being a museum, but they still kept the cafe. Instead of it being a museum, it was a zoo, which actually makes me wonder if it's no longer a museum, what happened to all of that medieval stuff from like Xandar and all? I mean, what happened to it? I mean, did it just go off to another museum where someone else found all that stuff? I mean, it's like what happened? If it's no longer a museum, what happened to all the medieval stuff? I mean, it wasn't just for dinosaurs. I mean, that museum wasn't just for dinosaurs. I mean, I know that was main focus, but still. But I still like how they kept the I still like how they kept the cafe. That was pretty interesting and pretty good. Now on to Ninja Steel and Super Steel. Now, I will remind all of you, I have not seen the finale of this season, and I will also add that today, as of today, while I'm recording this episode, it's Saturday, and this episode is the Halloween episode. So I have no idea what's gonna happen with the finale. I'm just gonna go with what I know of Ninja Steel. I'm just gonna give my review on the finale of Ninja Steel. and I'm just gonna give my prediction for what's gonna happen with the end of this season. Because they had given up the Morphers, though they did not stop being Rangers, because I guess they intentionally did it, but the Power Stars just no longer were with them. So, but I guess now that I think about it, the actual season finale was not the defeat of Galvanax, though that was epic. Technically speaking, the season finale would have been the Christmas episode, but we are not talking about the specials. We are talking about the actual season finales, which would be the episode I'm trying to talk about, which would be Galvanax's defeat and Mick finally becoming a ranger for a good 10 minutes. That was definitely epic. I like how they kind of like closed it out on Galvanax is defeated. There's no monsters. To their knowledge, there are no monsters. So, even the Power Stars are gone, but Galvanax is gone too, so there's no real point. There's no real need for them. Of course, that was proven wrong in the season opener of Super Ninja Steel, but still, it was pretty interesting. Alright, my question of the day is, what did you guys think? Do you think my ideas were good, bad? What were they like? What did you think? Alright, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Please comment, like, and subscribe for more. Catch you on the flip side.